Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and sometimes you're just tired of work, you're tired of everything, you want to go somewhere for a nice romantic weekend, you take a holiday or a getaway.
That's right, so why don't we take a look at this word on Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
Okay, so Marco, the word I mentioned is getaway. It has a couple of different meanings in English. What are we talking about today?
Well, to get away from someone would be to, leave, right? To try and stay far away. But a getaway, so taking it as a noun, a romantic getaway, is actually to take a holiday, a romantic escape from the city, escape from your daily normal life.
That's right. So it's usually kind of brief or sudden, almost like you're just going to sneak out and then come back in a couple of days.
Exactly. So many people refer to them as island getaways if you go to an island, or a romantic getaway if you have a romantic 2-day vacation or something like this.
Right. And what are you getting away from? You're getting away from work. You're getting away from the busyness of the city. You're getting away from noise. It's a nice way to get into the countryside, or as you said, the islands.
Exactly. So I think we can take a look at our dialogue. We're going to a travel agency called Getaway Tours, and we're going to try and see if we can book a nice romantic getaway.
Welcome to Perfect Getaway Tours. How can I help you?
I would like to plan a surprise getaway for me and my wife.
Very well. We have a couple of different options, such as beaches, the wilderness, the countryside, or even going to a spa for the weekend.
I think something in the countryside would be nice.
Perfect. This package includes round-trip flights to New Hampshire. A free airport pickup is included. Our VIP limousine will pick you up and provide you with complimentary champagne and finger foods to soften this 30-minute ride to the countryside.
Sounds good. What is the hotel that we'll be staying at like?
That is the best part. Your hotel is actually an old country villa that has been restored and refurbished to accommodate a maximum of 10 guests. You will enjoy an intimate and private time in this very spacious and warm hotel. Included in the price is 3 meals a day, excluding beverages. You can choose to eat at the fabulous restaurant that offers a stunning view of the lush green gardens. Or if you prefer, your own private butler can arrange your meal to be served in your room or outside on our terrace.
Wow, this sounds like something my wife would really enjoy. Are there any outdoor activities we can take part in?
Of course. The hotel has a stable with beautiful stallions for a very romantic horseback ride along the country trail. You can also go fishing at the nearby lake or visit the local vineyard.
I'm sold. I want to book this trip, and I don't care what it costs. Money is no object.
All right, we're back. So I think this sounds pretty romantic, right?
It sounds too good to be true. It's perfect. They have butlers and food and horseback riding.
That's right. So she actually mentioned a couple of interesting words there describing where they're going to go or how they're going to spend their time. So why don't we take a look at those now on Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
Okay, so the first word has to do with where this couple is going. They're going to the countryside.
That's right, the countryside. So what exactly is the countryside?
Well, countryside, or the country, is the opposite of the city. So it's anywhere that is rural or less developed than a city, not big skyscrapers or businesses or big towns. It's actually pretty quiet.
Okay, so yeah, usually the countryside will have a lot of natural wildlife, trees, gardens, or farms, I think can be considered part of the countryside.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, that's basically the complete opposite from a city, right?
Yes, and that's why a lot of people take getaways to the countryside because it's as far away from the city as you can go.
Okay, very good. And to get to the countryside, they're actually taking round-trip flights to New Hampshire.
All right, so round trip is an important vocabulary item when we're talking about travel because you can use this for train tickets, flight tickets, even boat tickets. It means that you're going there and you're coming back. It's basically 2 tickets.
Right. So the opposite would be if you buy one-way ticket or a one-way flight.
That's right. So many people dream of buying a one-way ticket to the islands. You know, they never have to come back.
Right.
But round trip means you're going to come home at some point.
Okay. So they're actually going round trip to New Hampshire, and also they are getting picked up at the airport where they're going to have a nice limo that's going to offer them complimentary champagne and finger foods.
Okay, my favorite kind of champagne.
Complimentary.
That's right. This means that they're not going to pay for it, right? It's free.
So it's the company is going to pay for it.
You can have complimentary food. You can have complimentary service. These are basically things that someone else is providing for you. You don't have to pay for them.
Yeah, even on talking about flights, sometimes people will get a complimentary upgrade to first class. That means they are getting a better service for free.
Not me. Hey, if you work for an airline, I would love a complimentary bump to first class.
And what about this finger foods? What about that? That sounds kind of strange.
Yeah, it might sound disgusting, but it's not actually fingers that you eat. It's food that you can eat with your fingers.
So they're like small little treats or snacks that you can have.
Exactly. Usually if you go to a cocktail party or if you go to a party at a museum or an event, they'll have these little foods that you can pick up and eat. You don't need a fork or a spoon.
Okay, so they're very small, convenient little snacks that you can just kind of pick at and
pop into your mouth.
Pop into your mouth. All right, and all of this they're doing because they have a 30-minute ride to the countryside, so they want to soften the 30-minute ride.
Okay, so to soften something means to make it more enjoyable or more pleasurable. Because, oh no, the 30-minute ride is so rough, so
and
hard.
So boring.
So this makes it better.
Okay, so yeah, you can soften things such as the ride to the countryside, or you can even soften someone up. So maybe give them some nice compliments, so they'll be nice to you.
That's right, to soften.
Okay, all right. So why don't we take a break and listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back with language takeaway part 2.
Welcome to Perfect Getaway Tours. How can I help you?
I would like to plan a surprise getaway for me and my wife.
Very well. We have a couple of different options, such as beaches, the wilderness, the countryside, or even going to a spa for the weekend.
I think something in the countryside would be nice.
Perfect. This package includes round-trip flights to New Hampshire. A free airport pickup is included. Our VIP limousine will pick you up and provide you with complimentary champagne and finger foods to soften this 30-minute ride to the countryside.
Sounds good. What is the hotel that we'll be staying at like?
That is the best part. Your hotel is actually an old country villa that has been restored and refurbished to accommodate a maximum of 10 guests. You will enjoy an intimate and private time in this very spacious and warm hotel. Included in the price is 3 meals a day, excluding beverages. You can choose to eat at the fabulous restaurant that offers a stunning view of the lush green gardens. Or if you prefer, your own private butler can arrange your meal to be served in your room or outside on our terrace.
Wow, this sounds like something my wife would really enjoy. Are there any outdoor activities we can take part in?
Of course. The hotel has a stable with beautiful stallions for a very romantic horseback ride along the country trail. You can also go fishing at the nearby lake or visit the local vineyard.
I'm sold. I want to book this trip, and I don't care what it costs. Money is no object.
All right, we're back, and now we are going to take a look at a good group of adjectives that the travel agent used to describe how great this hotel is, how great the place is.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so the person on the telephone representing the travel company is trying to sell something. So she is using these really, really great adjectives to make everything sound awesome. And one of the first things she says is that you will enjoy an intimate and private time in this great hotel. Okay, so an intimate time, if something is intimate, it means it's very, I don't know, it usually means like romantic, right? Romantic, cozy, but also private. Private. So something that is intimate is usually between two people. Okay, so if they're going to have an intimate and private room, that means it's a room only for them. Yes, or if someone has an intimate relationship, that means that they're romantically involved. Okay.
And the travel agent went on to describe how fabulous the restaurant is. So this adjective is really nice. Fabulous.
And I think you have to say it like that. Fabulous.
Fabulous.
So this means that it's just a wonderful restaurant. And some people even say totally fab.
Okay. Can you describe someone as fabulous? Not really, right?
He is so fabulous. She is fabulous.
Really? You can
My
say
mom
that?
says it all the time. Yeah. So it also depends on, I think, your personality. This is a very, very descriptive word. So sometimes it's a bit too strong.
Okay.
You have to be careful. But yeah, you can describe a person, you can describe a place, you can describe a thing with the word fabulous.
All right. Apart from having this fabulous restaurant, they also have a stunning view of the gardens.
All right, stunning is similar to the word breathtaking or shocking in a good way. It makes you really, really impressed because it's so beautiful or so unique.
Okay, so for example, the view of the beach is stunning, right? Or even someone, you can say, "Wow, you look stunning."
That's right. So this is a really great compliment, by the way. Usually men say this to women.
Okay.
Women don't say this to men.
Okay.
You can describe someone's clothes as stunning, like her dress was stunning at the Oscars. But if you're a man trying to give a woman a good compliment, believe me, this one works. You look stunning
All
this
right.
evening.
Okay. Nice little tip there. Using the adjective stunning. Okay. Now, lush. We have lush green gardens. So we have a stunning view of the lush green gardens. This word lush.
Lush usually describes things that are organic, like plants and flowers. And we say this to mean that something is very green, very healthy, very full.
Okay. So an apple tree, full with apples, and you have it just looks great. You would say it's a lush apple tree.
Right. Or I could even say, I've heard that the rainforests of Ecuador are very, very lush.
Okay.
Very, very green.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so lush, they're very abundant, very green, very healthy. And apart from these adjectives, the sales agent also described that the country villa had recently been restored and refurbished. So what about these two words? Restored and refurbished.
Okay, basically what she's saying is that this house, this big villa, was recently completely remade on the inside.
Okay.
So the appearance, the look doesn't really change. It's still an old, beautiful villa, but maybe the insides were old or needed to be updated. And so that means that the plumbing, the lights, the walls, the paint, that was all restored, maybe to look like the original, very, very beautiful and clean, but also it was refurbished, which means that the fittings and the carpet and maybe the lights and all the furniture, that was also new again.
Okay, so we usually hear about this sometimes in the news when they are restoring an old church or an old building. That means they're making it, they're trying to save it and make it look like it used to. They're not changing it, right?
They're not trying to make it look new, but they're trying to make it look like it used to look before it got old.
Okay.
You know how sometimes old things are worn and they're not pretty anymore. Well, what they're trying to do is make it really shiny and beautiful.
And refurbish is basically to give it, as you said, new carpet or sometimes new furniture or stuff like that. So many people refurbish their homes, right?
That's right. And it's a very, very popular thing to do with older houses. You buy them, you fix them, you restore them, you refurbish them so that you want to live in them.
Right. Okay. So a lot of great things from this dialogue. I think we should listen to it one more time, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Welcome to Perfect Getaway Tours. How can I help you?
I would like to plan a surprise getaway for me and my wife.
Very well. We have a couple of different options, such as beaches, the wilderness, the countryside, or even going to a spa for the weekend.
I think something in the countryside would be nice.
Perfect. This package includes round-trip flights to New Hampshire. A free airport pickup is included. Our VIP limousine will pick you up and provide you with complimentary champagne and finger foods to soften this 30-minute ride to the countryside.
Sounds good. What is the hotel that we'll be staying at like?
That is the best part. Your hotel is actually an old country villa that has been restored and refurbished to accommodate a maximum of 10 guests. You will enjoy an intimate and private time in this very spacious and warm hotel. Included in the price is 3 meals a day, excluding beverages. You can choose to eat at the fabulous restaurant that offers a stunning view of the lush green gardens. Or if you prefer, your own private butler can arrange your meal to be served in your room or outside on our terrace.
Wow, this sounds like something my wife would really enjoy. Are there any outdoor activities we can take part in?
Of course. The hotel has a stable with beautiful stallions for a very romantic horseback ride along the country trail. You can also go fishing at the nearby lake or visit the local vineyard.
I'm sold. I want to book this trip. I don't care what it costs. Money is no object.
All right, so talking about getaways, now the sales agent offered him options such as beach, wilderness, countryside, or even a spa. Which one do you prefer?
Wilderness.
For sure.
For
so
sure.
You want to go into the forest, the jungle?
Yes, I hate to say it. I think beaches are boring. Sorry, Mom. I know you love beaches. I like to do stuff when I'm away. So I love the desert too, but the wilderness, somewhere where I'm outside. I live in a city. I don't want to go to a city, so I like to go somewhere where I can walk around, hike, ride a bike, do things like that. What about you?
I don't have a favorite actually. Sometimes it's nice for me to go to the beach and relax. I do tend to get a little bit bored after maybe 2 days of doing nothing on the beach, but it does give a good opportunity to do other things, beach activities like snorkeling or scuba diving, which can also be really fun. But definitely I do enjoy the wilderness as well, the jungle and rafting or camping. Yeah, it's good fun. The insects can be a bit of a nuisance at times,
Or the rain. Camping in the snow or the rain is so horrible.
But other than that, yeah, it's great. I know not many people enjoy these types of outdoor getaways. But of course, you have spas. I know many people enjoy going to a spa, having a mud bath, and
Nothing wrong with that. Getting your nails done, having a
Exactly.
massage. I mean, getting the whole royal treatment, like we say.
so this is what we want to know now is, when you go on vacation, what do you like to do? Do you like to get away to the tropical beaches? Do you like to go to the islands or the jungle? What do you like to do?
Let us know. Our website is englishpod.com. We hope to see you there.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
A group of services. Package. Travel both to the place and back again. Round trip. Expressing a compliment. Complimentary. To provide room for someone. Accommodate. To return something to an original condition. Restore. Be persuaded to recognize the worth of. Be sold. A place appropriate for a vacation. Getaway.
Let's try that faster.
A place appropriate for a vacation. Getaway. Expressing a compliment. Complimentary. Be persuaded to recognize the worth of. Be sold. Travel both to the place and back again. Round trip. To return something to an original condition. Restore. To provide room for someone. Accommodate. A group of services. Package.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Getaway. They took the whole family on a getaway to the Rocky Mountains. Getaway. This travel agency offers getaways mainly to tropical destinations. Getaway. My dream getaways would be to spend a week living by the ocean in a little fishing village. Complimentary. We found complimentary chocolates and champagne in the hotel room. Complimentary. This hotel includes a complimentary breakfast and nightly snacks. Complimentary. The flight attendant passed out the complimentary mid-flight refreshments. Restore. They restored the town's old library 3 years ago. Restore. The exterior of this church has been restored to its original appearance. Restore. They are in the process of restoring the old town hall, so it will be closed for at least another month. Accommodate. We can accommodate 3 more people on this trip. Accommodate. This hotel can accommodate over 800 guests. Accommodate. The maximum number of people we can accommodate in this reception hall is 250. Be sold. They sold me on that idea. Be sold. This vacation package has everything I want, so I'm sold. Be sold. If the advertisement is clever enough, I'm usually sold on that product.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we've got a monologue. We've got one person talking, telling you how to make the perfect sandwich.
That's right. She's a chef, and she's going to teach us. She's going to talk about all the ingredients and some tips on how to make a sandwich. So be prepared. This is going to be a really good lesson.
And I'm already hungry thinking about it. So let's listen to the dialogue. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome to our show. Today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect mouth-watering sandwich. Are you ready? Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. Bread. Bread is an important ingredient here. You need to remember one thing. Choose the bread according to the following criteria: freshness, crumb, and color. If you want a closed sandwich, I recommend you first toast your bread in a toaster or oven, or grill it slightly until it gets a light brown color. Now that our bread is ready, let's talk about the ingredients. Of course, each person's palate is different, but I'm going to give you a few tips that you'll be able to use when turning any sandwich into the perfect sandwich. I would strongly recommend you put fresh vegetables in your sandwich. Do not undervalue them, as they play a big role in forming the taste and will make the sandwich more refreshing and light. The best choices here are evident: cucumbers, tomatoes, onions, sweet pepper or chili, lettuce, and of course herbs. You can't go wrong with them. As for aubergines, mushrooms, and asparagus, I would recommend you first grill them slightly with a little touch of olive oil. Last but not least, we have a wide variety of condiments that we can add to our perfect sandwich. We can be subtle and add just a touch of salt and pepper, or we can combine mustard sauce, mayonnaise, ketchup, or even caviar to achieve a stronger flavor. It's always a good idea to cut your sandwich in triangles or manageable pieces to avoid all your ingredients falling out and staining your shirt. That's all the time we have for today, but join us next time where we'll be going over how to make the perfect lasagna. Till next time.
All right, we're back. So obviously, I think she knows what she's talking about. This is going to be a great sandwich. All right, so she mentioned a lot of ingredients, a couple of different words that we might not understand. So let's take a look at them now in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, at the beginning of this monologue, as I said, the chef is talking about things that you need to look for in a bread, because bread is the base of a sandwich. And she mentioned the word crumb.
Okay, yeah, she said freshness, crumb, and color. So what does she mean by crumb of the bread?
Okay, so a crumb is a very, 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 very small piece of bread. Like when you put bread in a toaster, maybe it's what falls down, actually. We call them bread crumbs sometimes. You can cook with them, but they're basically little pieces of bread that fall off, little grains.
Okay. Yeah, so usually it happens all the time. You're having cookies or you're having some bread, you bite into it, and little pieces of bread or cookie fall down. Those are called crumbs.
That's right. And and I want to remind everyone that the word crumb has a B on the end, C-R-U-M-B, but we don't pronounce the B. We just say crumb.
Yeah, you don't say crumb.
No.
Okay, so just crumb.
Yeah, be careful with that one.
All right. So we have to keep a lookout for the crumb of the bread. I guess how fresh and how sometimes when you squeeze bread, it makes a nice little sound.
Crunch, crunch.
Exactly. So, but she's also recommending a couple of different ingredients. And she said, well, it depends on each person's palate. So after we've chosen our bread, she talks about a closed sandwich and maybe toasting it.
Okay, so there are two options for sandwiches. You might see these on menus as well as when you're cooking yourself. A closed sandwich means you have two pieces of bread, one on the bottom and one on top. It's closed.
Okay.
But the opposite is an open sandwich. That means you only have one piece of bread and then maybe you have some meat on top.
Oh, okay. Actually, I always thought that for it to be a sandwich, you had to have two pieces of bread.
Well, now I would challenge you to look on Google for an open-faced sandwich or open sandwich. You'll find some very interesting things.
Yeah, I've had them. Actually, you can put some meat and some cheese just on top of a piece of bread and you're done.
I'm a huge fan of those, yeah. So that's a closed sandwich, though, when you have two pieces of bread and the meat in the middle. And after that, she talks a little bit about people's tastes and what people want. But she used a very special word.
That's right. She said each person's palate is different.
Okay, a palate in the context of food and taste means the way that food flavors affect a person individually.
That's right. So sometimes you say that some people have a very good palate, so they can maybe tell the difference between a wine from 1978 and a wine from 1980 or something like that.
That's right. So you can have a palate, a good palate for wine, but also in this case, we're talking about food. I could say I have a very sensitive palate, so I don't like to use very, very strong flavors.
Okay. So the palate is basically your taste. It's actually a physical part of your mouth. It's the top of your mouth, where your tongue can touch the top of your mouth.
The roof of your mouth, exactly. And it's not just your ability to taste sweet. It's sweet and salty and sour and all these different flavors.
Okay, so a person's palate. Now, herbs, right? Now moving on to the main ingredients. She mentioned a lot of easy ones like tomatoes, onions, lettuce, but then we got into a little bit more specific things, like for example this word that's always mispronounced, herbs.
Actually, you can say herbs. It's a very British thing to do, though. Americans and Canadians say herbs. It has an H in the front. That's why it's confusing.
Okay, so we can accept basically if somebody says herbs, but I guess in American English it's more commonly pronounced as a silent H.
That's right, herbs.
Herbs.
And what are herbs, you might be asking? Well, herbs can come in many different shapes and sizes. They're usually green. They're usually grown. They're ways of giving food different flavors. And so basil, for example, is an herb. It's a big green leaf, something that we use in pesto, for example.
Okay.
You can also have rosemary or mint. These are all kinds of herbs.
Okay. Some people even have an herb garden.
That's right. They grow their own herbs.
Okay. So now moving on to these weird looking vegetables. For example, aubergines.
Okay, aubergines are the same as eggplants. So you might hear this word sometimes. It's basically a big purple vegetable.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen an aubergine or an eggplant, yeah, it's a big purple vegetable. It kind of looks like a cucumber, but a little bit fatter.
Very fat, and they're if you hold them, they're not very hard. They're kind of soft.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like to grill these or to cook with them in for example, example, Chinese food, there's a lot of eggplant or aubergines.
All right. So we've had those. We have mushrooms. And what about asparagus?
Asparagus is actually one of my favorite foods, but it's very strange looking.
It's kind of green and it kind of has this little head, right?
That's right. It's long. It's green. It's kind of like a pencil, but at the very top, it's like a plant almost.
Yeah. They have a very strong taste, and many people don't like asparagus.
That's right. And the Germans, I think, actually, Germans and the Dutch have special asparagus that's white.
Oh, really?
It's called Spargel.
Oh, wow.
But if any of you know what that is, it's basically a white asparagus. But asparagus is very popular in a lot of parts of the world.
Okay, so now we have our vegetables, we have our bread, but now we need to add a little bit of extra flavor to the sandwich. So this is where we add some condiments.
Okay, so condiments are a category. You can have many different kinds of condiments. The most common are salt and pepper.
Okay, so a condiment is a category of the things that you would add flavor to. As you said, salt, pepper. But here they mention, for example, mayonnaise or ketchup.
Ooh, and mustard as well. These are all condiments.
Okay.
So in different parts of the world, they have different kinds of condiments. I've seen, for example, a lot of vinegar in Asia. You can also have hot pepper flakes like in Europe.
Yeah. The condiments that you add to your sandwich are varied. I've seen people put all types of condiments in their sandwich. And for example, one that may be a little bit strange or maybe a little bit more expensive condiment is caviar.
Okay, so caviar is not always considered a condiment. It can be, but it can also be eaten alone. But it's basically just fish eggs.
They're little fish eggs.
Very small.
It always usually, in people's mind, it's kind of like a fancy food, very luxurious, very expensive.
Well, it can be very expensive if you get like beluga caviar. A lot of caviar comes from the Caucasus and Russia and Ukraine, these places. And it's very, very salty in flavor.
That's right. So that is also considered a condiment in our case because we're using it for a sandwich, right? Okay, so a lot of words there, a lot of interesting things going on in our sandwich. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder, where we're going to take a look at some phrases.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so let's go back to the very beginning of the dialogue when she said, all right, let's start with the basics.
Okay, the basics is a set phrase in this context. We can say this about many different things, but the basics basically refers to the most simple ingredients or the most simple elements. In this case, bread or meat. But you can also talk about the basics in other contexts, like clothes shopping. Like, you know, when school started when I was a kid, my mom always used to buy me the basics. So t-shirts and socks.
Exactly. So I guess the basics are the absolute necessary things.
Yes.
Right? That are, and also very simple. So for example, if you talk about dancing, the basics would be maybe a certain sequence of steps that important, essential, right?
That's right. And would caviar be a part of the basics, for example?
No.
No, that's an extra.
Okay. So this is what we refer to when we say the basics. Now our chef, when she continued talking about her sandwich, she said, I would strongly recommend you use fresh vegetables in your sandwich.
Okay, so you can say I would recommend this, but to strongly recommend is to have a very, very strong feeling about something.
That's right. You're saying to the person, basically, do it.
You must.
Yeah. So if maybe your friend is sick, you can say something like, I would strongly recommend you go to the doctor today.
That means you really, really should go to the doctor. I would be upset if you didn't.
It's kind of formal though. It seems like you would maybe use it with a boss, with your boss,
Yep.
or maybe with a person you don't really know that well. But with your friend, you would say, I really think you should go to the doctor.
Yeah. But you can say it in both contexts. But yeah, definitely more of a formal thing.
Okay. So we strongly recommend that you... No. Okay. All right. So now for our... last phrase, right? Where are we?
Last but
Last but not least. All right. Now moving on to our next phrase. When she started talking about the condiments, she said, last but not least, we have a wide variety of condiments.
Okay, this is a very, very common phrase. It's a set phrase. You will hear these words together very often. Last but not least. What could this possibly mean? So obviously last means the last step here.
The last point.
But why not least.
Well, it's not least important. Just because it's last, it doesn't mean that it's not important.
Okay, so maybe there are many people who have to give presentations in school, and I'm the very, very last person to go. The teacher will say, last but not least, Catherine.
That's right.
Makes me feel better because
Exactly.
you're saying you're last, but it doesn't mean you're not important.
Exactly. So when you want to make sure that the last point of your presentation or what you're talking about is not ignored, or you want to make sure that everyone knows that it's also very important, you say last but not least.
Great.
All right. And now last but not least, the end of Fluency Builder, we're going to close off with this little phrase. When she was talking about salt and pepper, she said a touch of salt and pepper.
Okay, a touch of salt and pepper is basically a measure. It's not a lot. It's a very little amount of salt and pepper. So we can say a touch.
So it's not really a specific quantity, though, right? We're not saying like a spoon of salt and pepper.
Not at all. It basically means a little bit.
A little bit. So you're just saying maybe you'll hear this in maybe a cooking show, or you'll read it in books when they'll say a pinch of salt, or a touch of salt, or a dash of salt.
That's right. You could even say it about other things. For example, if my friend just wrote this article and he wanted me to read it, I say, it's a really good article, but it could use a touch of humor.
Okay.
I think maybe if you made it a little bit funny, it would be better.
Or maybe if you're painting your house, you can say, oh, I think a touch of red paint would look really nice on this wall.
That's right. A little bit of red paint would be good.
Okay. So a touch of, a really, really good phrase. It makes you sound very natural. Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, let's listen to the dialogue again.
Welcome to our show. Today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect mouth-watering sandwich. Are you ready? Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. Bread. Bread is an important ingredient here. You need to remember one thing. Choose the bread according to the following criteria: freshness, crumb, and color. If you want a closed sandwich, I recommend you first toast your bread in a toaster or oven, or grill it slightly until it gets a light brown color. Now that our bread is ready, let's talk about the ingredients. Of course, each person's palate is different, but I'm going to give you a few tips that you'll be able to use when turning any sandwich into the perfect sandwich. I would strongly recommend you put fresh vegetables in your sandwich. Do not undervalue them, as they play a big role in forming the taste and will make the sandwich more refreshing and light. The best choices here are evident: cucumbers, tomatoes, onions, sweet pepper or chili, lettuce, and of course herbs. You can't go wrong with them. As for aubergines, mushrooms, and asparagus, I would recommend you first grill them slightly with a little touch of olive oil. Last but not least, we have a wide variety of condiments that we can add to our perfect sandwich. We can be subtle and add just a touch of salt and pepper, or we can combine mustard sauce, mayonnaise, ketchup, or even caviar to achieve a stronger flavor. It's always a good idea to cut your sandwich in triangles or manageable pieces to avoid all your ingredients falling out and staining your shirt. That's all the time we have for today, but join us next time where we'll be going over how to make the perfect lasagna. Till next time.
All right, so talking about sandwich, this really reminds me of making sandwiches at home. Grilled cheese sandwich. We didn't really talk about it here, but I think it's my favorite sandwich.
The grilled cheese sandwich.
Very easy to make, just 2 pieces of bread and cheese inside.
Do you use butter though?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to butter the bread, and so when you grill it, it gets really nice and brown.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not a very big sandwich fan when I'm having, for example, a meal like lunch. I don't really, I don't know. I think I need something more solid than just a sandwich at times.
Interesting. I had a sandwich for dinner last night. Now that we speak about it, yeah. I had an egg salad sandwich.
So you had egg salad inside 2 pieces of bread.
That's right. But the bread I had was French bread, so that long, thin bread was very crunchy, very delicious. But I like sandwiches for dinner.
They are a little bit lighter. Yeah. When you're having a big meal, it just seems like, although maybe sometimes places give you very big, heavy sandwiches that have like ham and salami and just a lot of things in there. So they're very, very filling.
That's very true. Like a meatball sub, for example, is a very heavy sandwich.
That's right.
But sandwiches come in all shapes and sizes. You can make basically any sandwich that your brain can think of. And so we hope that you've learned some words for talking about sandwiches today. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to share with us your very favorite sandwich, you should do so on EnglishPod.com.
All right. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
To put too low a value on. To undervalue. To provide new vigor and energy by rest, food, etc. Refreshing. A slight quantity or degree. A touch. So slight as to be difficult to detect or describe. Subtle. That can be managed or controlled. Manageable.
Let's try that faster.
To provide new vigor and energy by rest, food, etc. Refreshing. A slight quantity or degree. A touch. So slight as to be difficult to detect or describe. Subtle. To put too low a value on. To undervalue. That can be managed or controlled. Manageable.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
To undervalue. I undervalued the importance of giving compliments to my girlfriend. To undervalue. Do not undervalue the proper way to slice beef and the size of your pieces when cooking. To undervalue. When I took my grandparents' antiques to the appraiser, I realized that I had greatly undervalued their worth. Refreshing. This milk is so refreshing. Refreshing. Taking a dip in the pool was very refreshing after lying in the heat of the sun for several hours. Refreshing. Going on holiday to someplace with nothing to do but relax will be much more refreshing than traveling non-stop for 4 days. A touch. Next we will add a pinch of salt and a touch of garlic to the mixture. A touch. I think the soup needs a touch more pepper and then it will be perfect. A touch. This painting would be much more pleasing to the eye had the artist added just a touch of red over here. Subtle. Her makeup was subtle, but it accentuated her beauty. Subtle. There is a subtle taste of parsley in this dish. Subtle. You need to let him know that he's being a disturbance, but please be subtle about it or he'll make more of a scene. Manageable. We get a lot of homework, but it's manageable. Manageable. The noise level in my neighborhood is manageable, but I can't stand it when my neighbors' parties last until the wee hours of the morning. Manageable. Usually the kids that I babysit are quite manageable, but last night they were completely out of control.
everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we've got a very special lesson for you all about time.
That's right. We're going to concentrate a little bit on some specific points of grammar this time, and we're going to talk about the morning routine, what you do in the mornings.
Well, let's take a look first at the word routine. This is our vocabulary preview for today.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so a routine or the morning routine. What is a routine?
A routine is basically your habit for a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. So, for example, your routine in the morning is what you do when you wake up.
Right.
Get breakfast and go to work. You can also have an evening routine. Mm-hmm. It's what you always do before you go to bed.
Exactly. So everyone has a routine, what they do in the mornings, maybe what you do at night before going to bed. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's right. You can also have an exercise routine. So basically anything with steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you always do the same way. That's a routine.
Exactly. Right. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Why don't we jump right into our dialogue and listen to Stephanie's routine.
Stephanie, did you just get to school? But you were up and about when I left the dorm this morning. That was about an hour and a half ago. This happens all the time. Why do you always take so long to get ready in the mornings?
It's a skill. What can I say? I don't know why. I just have a long routine.
Please explain, because it makes no sense to me. How can a girl's routine be so complicated? You get up, you shower, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, you're out the door. Half an hour tops.
Jacob, you have the luxury of having a haircut that rarely needs styling. I don't. I have to set aside about an hour and a half to get ready in the mornings. Every day, I wake up and head straight for the shower. Every second day, I wash my hair. If it's a hair washing day, I frequently need to wash my hair twice because it gets really oily. Then I usually put in a conditioner and have to rinse that out too. Because my hair is so long, I seldom manage to take a shower in under 20 minutes. Afterwards, I often put on a pot of coffee and get dressed while I wait for it to brew. I take a long time to get dressed in the morning. Every now and then I remember to choose my outfit the night before, but usually I do it in the morning. In all, getting dressed takes about half an hour, at which time my hair is now semi-dry, so then I have to style my hair. From time to time, I'll put my hair up, but oftentimes I blow dry it straight. And then, because of the texture of my hair, I regularly have to flat iron it to keep it from frizzing. That's another 20 minutes or so. After that, I have my daily makeup routine.
True, I hardly ever see you without your hair done and your makeup on, even when you show up to class in sweatpants. Tell me, how long does it take you to choose that outfit in the morning?
Not funny.
All right, we're back. So obviously she has a very complicated routine. I don't know if all girls are like this.
I'm not like this, but I think a lot of girls and some guys are.
Really?
I don't want to be sexist here. I know some guys who take their time in the morning and are very, very particular about the way that they look.
Wow. Well, yeah, I imagine everyone has their morning routine in different ways. And it was interesting to see how she described it. So why don't we take a look at language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
So today's language takeaway, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, is all about time. So we're going to look at some of these important time adverbs.
That's right. These are called adverbs of frequency. And basically, they are telling us how we do things. If we do something all the time or if we never do something.
Or everything in between.
Exactly.
So the first couple we have today are very, very common words. You're going to hear these a lot. The first one is frequently.
Okay, frequently. So if you do something frequently, consider it to be about 75% of the time. Maybe a little bit more, almost 85% of the time.
Right. So it's not always, but it's very often. So for example, I frequently forget to take my keys when I'm leaving the house, which is a very big problem.
Exactly. So considering out of 7 days, maybe you forget your keys 5 days.
Not so good.
All right. So that's frequently. Now let's move on to another one that's actually a lot less. We talk about seldom.
Well, Marco has told me that he seldom forgets his keys. That means he almost always remembers them.
Right. So seldom is a negative adverb. It's saying that almost never. Okay, so if I say, for example, I seldom go to the movies.
That's too bad. I like the movies.
Right? Well, that means that I maybe go to the movie theater once a month.
Yeah, not very often.
Not
seldom.
very often. Seldom. All right. Now, going back to a positive adverb of frequency, we have often. You described frequently as very often.
That's right. So I could also say, I often forget my keys, or it often rains in tropical places. This means this is a common thing.
Exactly. So again, let's consider it to be about 70 to 80% of the time. Now, with pronunciation, some people like to pronounce often, right? They kind of leave out the strong T sound. Well, other people say often.
That's right.
Both forms are correct, right?
Yes, they're both correct. So you're safe using either of these.
Right. Okay. And our fourth. And our fourth adverb of frequency is also a positive one, and we say usually.
Usually means this is something that you do pretty consistently. I usually brush my hair before I go to sleep. That means not always, but almost every day.
Right. So let's consider out of 7 days, you do it 6 times.
Yeah. I
Okay.
usually do this.
Okay, so usually is, again, very, very common. And something in between, maybe 60% of the time, 50% of the time, we say regularly.
Well, I think of the word regularly as being very closely related to regular. So basically, if I have a schedule, I do the same thing every day. I do it regularly. But sometimes there's a special occasion. For example, I regularly run 5 kilometers after work when I go to the gym. But sometimes when I want to go out with my friends, I don't run. So
Right.
it's not always, but it is pretty regular.
Exactly. So regularly means you do it very often, but there are some exceptions. Okay. Now, those are our adverbs of frequency, but we have a couple of other phrases that are very similar, so we want to take a look at those as well. Let's go back to the beginning of Stephanie's routine when she said that every day I wake up. Okay, so every day means 100% of the time, every single day.
Monday to Sunday.
Exactly. So obviously you wake up every day.
Or I brush my teeth twice every day.
So that's 100% of the time. Now, if we say every second day, what does that mean?
That means Monday, yes. Tuesday, no. Wednesday, yes. Thursday, no. Or any day. So basically, she says, I wash my hair every second day. That means one day I wash my hair, but the next day I don't. The day after that, though, I wash it again. Every second day.
Okay, so you can say every second day, and I think you can also say every other day, right?
Every other day.
So every other day or every second day.
He calls his mother every other day.
Very good. All right. And she also said that every now and then I remember to choose my outfit.
Okay, well, this one's interesting. This is not very frequent. This is basically saying sometimes.
Sometimes. So now and then. Every now and then means I sometimes do it, I sometimes don't do it.
Every now and then, I really want to eat chocolate, so I buy a candy bar.
Okay, so maybe you want to eat chocolate twice in a month.
Yeah, not very often.
Not very often. Okay. And another one that's very similar is from time to time.
So Marco said that he doesn't go to the movies very frequently, so he goes from time to time.
Right, so I can say I seldom go to the movies, or I can say I like to go to the movies from time to time.
That's right. Or this girl is describing her appearance. She says, from time to time, I put my hair up. So that means most of the time. That means sometimes it's down.
Right.
Sometimes it's up.
Right, so as you can see, there are many different ways of describing the frequency or how many times you do certain actions or your routine, right? So you can use this with a lot of things when you're describing.
And we encourage you to try some of these new ones because a lot of English learners use the same time adverbs whenever they speak. So try and really use some of these and challenge yourself.
Exactly. All right, so that's all we have for language takeaway. Why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so using some of these adverbs, I can say, I regularly make a pot of coffee in the morning.
Okay, so a pot of coffee. You regularly make a pot of coffee. That means you like to drink coffee every day.
That's right. I always need my cup of coffee in the morning, so I usually make it first thing.
So a pot of coffee, we know what a cup of coffee is, but a pot of coffee, what is a pot?
A pot is basically the container that you use when you brew coffee, when you make it. So you put the coffee beans in the machine, and instead of having a cup underneath, you have a bigger container. That's a pot. You can also have a pot of tea.
Exactly.
It's many cups, usually 8 or 10 cups.
All right. And remember that verb, to brew coffee. I think it's a very nice, kind of fancy way of saying making coffee.
Brew a pot of coffee.
I'm brewing some coffee. All right. So apart from coffee and all of these things, let's take a look at some of the specific phrases that she used when she was talking about her hair, because I think her hair is very complicated.
It is very complicated. Sometimes she washes her hair. Sometimes she doesn't wash her hair. Sometimes she blow dries it straight.
Okay, so to blow dry means that you use a blow dryer.
That's right. This is a machine that uses electricity to blow hot air on your hair so that your hair will dry quickly. But you can blow dry your hair in many ways. Some people have curly hair and they have special tools for making their hair curly. But she says she blow dries it straight. That means she makes it straight with hot air.
Right, so I think the way you do this is you take the blow dryer and a brush, and you brush while you blow dry, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Making lines.
See, I know a little bit about this, even though I don't have long enough hair for this.
No, I guess, well, maybe you are secretly one of those guys who has a routine like this woman.
I don't think I can take this much time in the shower and brushing my hair. But moving on, actually, I also know this next phrase, to flat iron your hair.
Okay, so flat iron is a noun and a verb. So I use a flat iron, or I can flat iron my hair. This is a tool that we use that's very, very hot. Think of an iron. It's very, very hot, and it basically presses my hair and makes it very, very, very thin and flat and straight.
Right. So I think people that have straight hair don't need to really flat iron their hair.
Nah, but if you have very curly hair, then you need it.
So what's the difference? Give us the insight here. Why wouldn't you just blow dry it straight? Why do you need to flat iron it?
Because a flat iron makes it more flat. It makes your hair stick together more, and it's much, much, much hotter than a blow dryer.
Okay. So I guess if you use a blow dryer, then you have puffy hair, or like the next word that she described, frizzy hair.
Okay, so the adjective to describe this kind of hair is frizzy. For example, when it's very rainy, my hair is frizzy. That means that it sticks out. It's very thick and not straight.
Okay.
It's not curly, but it's, it's messy.
It kind of inflates.
That's right. It's like a little balloon. But the verb here is to frizz. So my hair is frizzing.
Okay. And that means that it's getting like this, bigger or inflated.
That's right. So usually girls who have this problem have it worse during very humid or rainy days. Not so bad when it's dry.
Okay. So I actually have a little bit of frizzy hair. That's why I have to use some sort of
hair gel
or mousse. See, it's not because I'm vain. It's just because if I don't use this, I'll come in looking like a lion. And I don't think
I think I might have to insist that happens sometime soon. We can take a picture and put it on our website, englishbot.com.
For sure. All right, so why don't we go back and listen to the dialogue one last time.
Stephanie, did you just get to school? But you were up and about when I left the dorm this morning. That was about an hour and a half ago. This happens all the time. Why do you always take so long to get ready in the mornings?
It's a skill. What can I say? I don't know why. I just have a long routine.
Please explain, because it makes no sense to me. How can a girl's routine be so complicated? You get up, you shower, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, you're out the door. Half an hour tops.
Jacob, you have the luxury of having a haircut that rarely needs styling. I don't. I have to set aside about an hour and a half to get ready in the mornings. Every day, I wake up and head straight for the shower. Every second day, I wash my hair. If it's a hair washing day, I frequently need to wash my hair twice because it gets really oily. Then I usually put in a conditioner and have to rinse that out too. Because my hair is so long, I seldom manage to take a shower in under 20 minutes. Afterwards, I often put on a pot of coffee and get dressed while I wait for it to brew. I take a long time to get dressed in the morning. Every now and then I remember to choose my outfit the night before, but usually I do it in the morning. In all, getting dressed takes about half an hour, at which time my hair is now semi-dry, so then I have to style my hair. From time to time, I'll put my hair up, but oftentimes I blow dry it straight. And then, because of the texture of my hair, I regularly have to flat iron it to keep it from frizzing. That's another 20 minutes or so. After that, I have my daily makeup routine.
True, I hardly ever see you without your hair done and your makeup on, even when you show up to class in sweatpants. Tell me, how long does it take you to choose that outfit in the morning?
Not funny.
All right, so actually talking about morning routines, and we've given you so many tools, I think it would be a great idea if our users came to our site, englishpod.com, and posted a part of their morning routine, trying to use as many adverbs of frequency as possible.
That's a great suggestion. And to get you all started, I could give you a little bit of my routine.
All right, let's hear it.
Every morning when I wake up, I turn off the alarm, which is very loud, and I take a shower. I always brush my teeth, and I usually brew a pot of coffee, although sometimes I don't have time to brew my coffee, and I wait until I arrive at my office. I seldom choose the clothes I will wear the night before. I almost always choose them in the morning, and generally I ride my bike to work, but not always.
Okay, I think in the winter you seldom ride your bike to work.
Every once in a while I ride
Every
it.
now and then. All right, see? You have a perfect example there of more or less what we expect, but also it would be interesting to see if you have any other type of routine. I know some people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do, they always walk their dog, for example.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Other people are very hungry, so they almost always eat
First.
right when they wake up.
I eat before I brush my teeth.
Well, it's smart, actually.
Yeah. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Often. Frequently. Almost never. Seldom. Whenever. At which time. Once in a while. From time to time. Frequently. Oftentimes. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. A set of clothes. Outfit.
Let's try that faster.
Often. Frequently. Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. Frequently. Oftentimes. Almost never. Seldom. Once in a while. From time to time. A set of clothes. Outfit. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Whenever. At which time.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Up and about. Once I started taking the medication, I was up and about in no time. Up and about. He's usually up and about by 7 a.m. Up and about. Everyone else in the house is usually already up and about by the time I wake up. Set aside. I set aside 20 minutes every day to meditate. Set aside. You really need to set aside some time this week to work on your final project. Set aside. I set aside food for the next day's lunch and then ate the rest for dinner. Frequently. She frequently visits her grandfather on the weekends. Frequently. I frequently like to take drives in the countryside to get out of the city. Frequently. I eat the fish, but not frequently, maybe once or twice a month. Seldom. He seldom speaks about his family. Seldom. My roommate is always in her room. She seldom comes out. Seldom. I seldom manage to see my family now that I'm living on the other side of the country. At which time, I walked in the room, at which time my dog leaped up and gave me a huge kiss. At which time, dessert was served after dinner, at which time a string quartet began to play. At which time, he found a dead end, so he turned around and started to walk back down the alleyway, at which time several gang members turned the corner and stopped in front of him.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Often. Frequently. Almost never. Seldom. Whenever. At which time. Once in a while. From time to time. Frequently. Oftentimes. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. A set of clothes. Outfit.
Let's try that faster.
Often. Frequently. Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. Frequently. Oftentimes. Almost never. Seldom. Once in a while. From time to time. A set of clothes. Outfit. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Whenever. At which time.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Up and about. Once I started taking the medication, I was up and about in no time. Up and about. He's usually up and about by 7 a.m. Up and about. Everyone else in the house is usually already up and about by the time I wake up. Set aside. I set aside 20 minutes every day to meditate. Set aside. You really need to set aside some time this week to work on your final project. Set aside. I set aside food for the next day's lunch and then ate the rest for dinner. Frequently. She frequently visits her grandfather on the weekends. Frequently. I frequently like to take drives in the countryside to get out of the city. Frequently. I eat the fish, but not frequently, maybe once or twice a month. Seldom. He seldom speaks about his family. Seldom. My roommate is always in her room. She seldom comes out. Seldom. I seldom manage to see my family now that I'm living on the other side of the country. At which time, I walked in the room, at which time my dog leaped up and gave me a huge kiss. At which time, dessert was served after dinner, at which time a string quartet began to play. At which time, he found a dead end, so he turned around and started to walk back down the alleyway, at which time several gang members turned the corner and stopped in front of him.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Often. Frequently. Almost never. Seldom. Whenever. At which time. Once in a while. From time to time. Frequently. Oftentimes. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. A set of clothes. Outfit.
Let's try that faster.
Often. Frequently. Out of bed and beginning to move around. Up and about. Cosmetics applied to improve your appearance. Makeup. Frequently. Oftentimes. Almost never. Seldom. Once in a while. From time to time. A set of clothes. Outfit. To keep time for a particular purpose. Set aside. Whenever. At which time.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Up and about. Once I started taking the medication, I was up and about in no time. Up and about. He's usually up and about by 7 a.m. Up and about. Everyone else in the house is usually already up and about by the time I wake up. Set aside. I set aside 20 minutes every day to meditate. Set aside. You really need to set aside some time this week to work on your final project. Set aside. I set aside food for the next day's lunch and then ate the rest for dinner. Frequently. She frequently visits her grandfather on the weekends. Frequently. I frequently like to take drives in the countryside to get out of the city. Frequently. I eat the fish, but not frequently, maybe once or twice a month. Seldom. He seldom speaks about his family. Seldom. My roommate is always in her room. She seldom comes out. Seldom. I seldom manage to see my family now that I'm living on the other side of the country. At which time, I walked in the room, at which time my dog leaped up and gave me a huge kiss. At which time, dessert was served after dinner, at which time a string quartet began to play. At which time, he found a dead end, so he turned around and started to walk back down the alleyway, at which time several gang members turned the corner and stopped in front of him.